Hi Stampers, my name is Sandy Hancock. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm coming to you from Southern California. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make 4 Christmas cards out of this Christmas Tags and More 6x6. Now there are 4 designs, however, there are 8 pieces of each design. So I'm going to show you how to make 32 cards out of this set. So this is front, back, front, back, front, back, and front, back. These are 2 each of pre-cut designs. So these are all the little fun things that you can put on the cards to fancy them up. Okay, so it's on page 15 in the catalog. When I first got the set, I wasn't really that thrilled with it, and I thought, oh no, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I ended up having so much fun. Okay, this is the first card that we're gonna make. Now, I will say that the Merry Christmas that I'm using is from an earlier set of dies that has since retired. It's called Word Wishes. You may have it if you've been around for a while. And the only reason I decided to do this is because the Merry Christmas that we have in our current catalog, which is beautiful and I do own, the first letter is not attached to the rest of the word. And because I'm going to be making quite a few of these cards, I just don't have the time to fool with that. So I'm just going back to use the Word Wishes dies that do have all the letters are attached. Okay, so then inside I'm going to be using a greeting. And again, I'll just say this is from a retired set, Hope and Peace. May knowing Christ bring you peace for today, hope for tomorrow, and joy in every season. Now, there are plenty of greetings in the current catalog, or you may have a greeting from one of your past Christmas sets that you've saved that you'd like to put in your Christmas cards. So whatever you want to put inside is up to you. All right, so let's get started. So I'm just using 8.5 by 5.5 cardstock, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. So the rest of the cards I'm not going to be scoring because you don't need to see me do this more than once, even if you're new. Okay, so 5.5, 8.5, I'm going to score at 4 1/4. Okay, so now we need to get our DSP cut down. And, whoops, let go. Here's how we're going to do it. Okay, this is a 6x6 piece of DSP. And fortunately, these are each 2 inches. So I know if I cut it right here, it's going to be 4 inches. And that is going to be perfect for the card. And then these pieces, isn't that pretty? I'm saving all these little pieces, and who knows if I'm going to do anything with them or not. I'm not sure. Okay, now you can see, okay, we have 6 inches here, but what we really need is we need 5 1/4 to fit onto this. So that means I need to cut off 3/4 of an inch of the height. If I cut that in 2, it's going to be 3/8 of an inch off of the top and 3/8 of an inch off of the bottom. So let's see, what's the easiest way to do this? 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so here's 6. We're going to 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. I'm just looking at the little lines on the bottom. Okay. Then I'm going to do it here. Okay, and I'm going to go again. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. And really what that is 2 little lines. It's 2/16 of an inch. And I don't know if that's really hard for you. I don't know what to say. Oops, sorry. I don't know what to say, except that I know you'll figure it out. Okay, so now I'm just going to use glue for this because it's less expensive than the Stampin' Seal. And so for big things like this, I'm just going to use the glue. Okay, we're going to put this right onto the front. Already, isn't it so cute? Oh my gosh, so easy. This is so easy. Okay, now for the front, I'm using the, I'm using the dies but I took out to the kitchen. Okay, this is a new one of these. Stylish Shapes. Okay, these are Stylish Shapes. This is not the largest one, it's the next to the largest one. And I'll show you the embossing folder I used on the Garden Green. This is Garden Green, by the way. The little circle on the inside. Okay, so we're going to put this right in the middle. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Okay, here is the embossing folder that I used. It's called Birchwood 3D embossing folder. Right there. Did I get that in the middle? I don't think so. Let's try that again. You can usually pick up dimensionals if you don't leave them down for very long, because I don't know how I didn't get that centered, but it happens, right? Okay, let's try it again. Right in the center. I'm just going to look at each edge this time. Last time I didn't look at each edge. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, now let's put on our Merry Christmas. And I will tell you, you need to put the Merry Christmas on there first before you start gluing, because if you don't, what I did one time, I got the Merry over too far this way, and then the Christmas was hanging off. So just because the T is going to bump into the Y if you're not careful. Okay, so I think we're good there. Okay, so I'm just going to use my reverse tweezers, and now I'm going to use my little tiny glue and just, okay, come on, people now. Okay, you've only been sitting for a few minutes. Here we go. Okay. So you just need to dot this glue. I still can make a mess even with just dotting. Okay, so I'm gonna put my Merry Christmas down, make sure I leave room for the T. That glue is gonna dry clear, so I'm not gonna worry about it at this point. Okay, now let's do the Christmas. So what I'm going to do, since I designed 4 cards, there are 8 of each one. 4 times 8 is 32. So that means I've got 32 cards out of this one set. Oops, now you're supposed to stay down. Is that going to be good? Yes. Okay, all right. Then, okay, I better put this back in there, even though I'll probably use it again in a minute. Okay, this tests your patience. There you go. Okay, so now let's put a piece inside. We still have to add some embellishments to the front, but we'll come back and do that. Okay, so I'm just putting a white piece inside, and then I'm going to use that stamp that I showed you from Hope and Peace. That was a set that was out, I don't know, several years ago. Okay, hopefully, I think this is basically straight. Yes. So I'm not worrying, because if I were worried, I would stamp it before I put it on so I could turn it over in case I messed it up. And then I'm just going to put a little piece of holly there. Okay, very nice. Okay, now how do we finish the front? All right, I'm going to show you the dots I'm going to use. They're called Delightful Decorative Dots. 165, 915, and I don't remember if these are online or if they're in the catalog. I forgot to look. 165, 915. But these are real red. Okay, so I'm just going to put 3 right, and I'm going to use 3 little ones. I might end up having to start using a big one in the middle. Okay, come on. That's pretty simple, right? Okay, now, potential problem. I've only made 9 cards, and look at all the dots I've used. Okay, so here's what they actually look like when you get them. These are more like petal pink. So I had a brainstorm. what I'm going to do and what I did on that package. I'm going to take a cherry cobbler marker that's kind of messed up, and I'm going to color all the petal pink ones with the cherry cobbler marker so that I can have more available. And I thought, wow, I'm glad I thought of this before I sat down and ordered a ton of these. Okay, just kind of check. And it's better if you go ahead and color them ahead of time. Don't you love that? Yeah. It's better if you color them ahead of time and let them dry. This will ruin your marker. Mine was already ruined, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, isn't that amazing? And if I need the mediums, I can color those too. So now I've doubled how much I can get out of this one set. So that makes me very, very happy. Okay, so here's card number 1. We'll set it aside. And okay, so now card number 2. Okay, it's going to be this card. Oops, where's my red base? Here it is. Okay. And it's going to be this paper. Now, when I first looked at this paper, I wasn't all that jazzed about it. But then I got an idea, and I really like the way it turned out. So now let's see if we can cut this down. Okay, I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is cut off this little pretty border because we don't need it. And again, I'm going to put that in my stack of things to save. Okay, so now this is going to be 3 layers down. So I don't need 5 1/4 by 4, which is what you typically need. I need 5 by 3 3/4. Okay, so I said cut 1/2 inch off the top. So I'm going to put it on 6, and then I'm going to pull it up to 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut off 1/2 inch from the top. There we go. Okay, so now we need 5 inches. So I'm just going to put it right on 5 inches and cut. There we go. Okay, now we have 4 1/4, but we need 3 3/4. So that's 1/4 of an inch off of each side. So I'm going to first put this on 4, because remember it's 4 1/4. So we're going to cut off 1/4 of an inch on this side. Then we're going to turn it. Now I'm going to put it at 3 3/4, which is down again 1/4 of an inch. Okay, now, okay, so let's put on, I've already scored it, let's put on the green. Isn't that funny? I flipped it over. It's the same on both sides. So I didn't really need to flip it over. Okay, so here we go. 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, now we've cut this DSP down another 1/4 of an inch, but you know what? I want to lift it up on dimensionals because I think it'll just give it a little bit more interest. And I don't really want to put the DSP by itself on dimensionals. So I am going to, I'll do it this way. I'm going to put a little piece of white cardstock that's just a tiny bit smaller than it is to give it some more strength so that I can put it on dimensionals. This looks like it's exactly the same size. Phew, I was trying to cut it a little bit smaller, but I guess I didn't do it. Okay, so now let's add some dimensionals. And this will give it a little bit more interest as it has some additional height to it. Okay, that should be enough. Yeah, you know, when I started making this card, I thought, oh, I wonder what this is going to look like. I don't know. And then I had it all finished, and I texted my friend, and I said, what do you think? And she said, why don't you put a little gold bow on it? Oh my gosh, you're brilliant. So I got some red thread. Some gold thread. Oh, here we go. And I'm going to make a little bow. And you know what? Maybe I'll put the Merry Christmas on first. Okay, now here's a little challenge with this card. And are you going to make red Merry Christmas or green Merry Christmas? If you make it green, the green's not going to show up there. If you make it red, the red's not going to show up there. So I decided to make the Merry red and the Christmas green. Why not? Be kind of fun. I'm going to just poke out these little extra pieces. Okay, isn't that kind of fun? All right, reverse tweezers. So this is the part that probably takes the longest. It doesn't take that long, but it takes a minute to get the glue on here. But once again, as you can see, I placed the words down before, before I'm actually gluing them, because I want to make sure I know where they're going. Okay, so now let's do the Christmas. My friend, another friend, told me about these reverse tweezers. I can't believe that I went for most of my life not knowing about reverse tweezers. I just went on Amazon and ordered them. And so it's been a very life-saving maneuver. Okay, so here goes our Christmas. Let's see, I should have just, okay, let's see, it's got to be on the red. Okay, Merry Christmas, there we go, Merry Christmas. Okay, now let's make a bow. Now, if you've never used a bow maker, you're not going to learn from me today, because just go on YouTube and say, how do you use a bow maker? So one tip that I'll give you is when your thread like this is curled, pull it like this and straighten it out, because you don't want your bow doing things you don't want it to do. Okay, so I'm going to make a double bow for this card. And again, it's so simple. But when I first started learning how to do the bow maker, I just went to YouTube, found the little tutorial, and followed it very slowly, step by step, until I got it down. Now I think I could actually make them in my sleep. Okay, so here's our little bow. Let's cut it down a little bit. This back away. And then I'm going to get a glue dot, and I'm going to add it with the glue dot. Now listen here, buddy. I don't want you sticking up like that. Look at you. Oh, it doesn't even want to stay on the same side. Okay, you are not my friend. Well, I'm going to hope and pray that the glue dot will hold it in place. And if it doesn't, okay, people, see, this needs to make sure it's nice and tight. Like I said, I'm really good at making bows. This one, it does not want to stay together. I don't know if I didn't pull it hard enough. What? Okay. We're going to start over on that bow. Sorry about that, you guys. But I'm not sure what happened. I thought I pulled it nice and tight. Okay. Thank heavens they're quick to make, right? Okay, so here we go again. Under, over, up and through. And now I'm going to pull this a little bit tighter than I did the first time. Okay, that seems to have done it. Okay, get my scissors again. Okay, much better. All right, my glue dot's already down. There we go. Okay, now we just need some little embellishments. So I'm going to, I've got two more little ones here. And I thought it just might be kind of pretty to pull them up around this green ornament. And then I'm just going to use one of the ones I colored. Oh my gosh, look at that, it works. You can't even tell that this was petal pink, can you? Okay, so then inside, I just stuck a little candy cane. So this is just one of the things out of these sheets. There's lots of little cute things that you can use inside. And again, may knowing Christ bring peace for today, hope for tomorrow, and joy in every season. Okay, card number 2. All right, now card number 3. We're going to be using this piece of paper. And this one was a bit more of a challenge for me to figure out what in the world to do with it. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you the back, which is very pretty. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut off this pretty extra crumb cake. Hey, I remembered crumb cake today. Remember last week I was calling it creamy caramel. Hello. Okay, so now, once again, let's see, this is this one, to keep these little cutting directions with me. Okay, so now this one also has a little bit of cutting instruction with it, because we have to figure out, okay, I'm gonna put that one inside. Once I cut them and once I figure them out, I like to put it on a piece of Post-it note and hold on to it, so when I make the next ones. Okay, so now this is gonna be our little side piece right here. It's 1 7/8, but it only needs to be 5 1/2, and we know that this paper is 6 by 6, so I'm just gonna cut that down to 5 1/2. Okay, so now we've got this piece ready to go. All right. Okay, now here we go. I said cut off 1/2 inch from the top, so we're going to go to 5 1/2 and cut. Okay, now it needs to be, let's see, it needs to be 4. Okay, the cardstock is 4 1/4. So we're going to cut, no, the cardstock is 4 1/2. So we're going to cut this down to 4 1/4. There. Yeah, we're cutting off a lot of this. Okay, now cut 3/4 inch off of each side, because we have to get this down to 2 3/4. See how much bigger it is? We just need a little bit of it, but I'm going to cut from each side because I want the arch to stay in the middle. Okay, so this is, how big? This is 4 1/4 inches. So I'm going to cut 3/4 inch. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to cut 3/4 off that side. This makes you a little nervous cutting away so much of it, but okay, 3 1/2. So now I'm going to cut off 3/4 inch this way. Be 2 3/4. Just have to figure out your little numbers here. Here we go. Okay, so let's put down ta-da! It fits. I'm so happy. Okay, so this is just this perfect little border. Isn't that amazing? That it's just so easy. And the back, oh my goodness, don't do it on that side. Hello. Oh, that was a close fail. Okay. So here we go. We're just going to put down our piece. 1 7/8 by 5 1/2. So pretty. Okay. Now this piece, I thought I had it. Oh, here it is, right here. Okay, so the green is 4 1/2 by 3. The DSP is 4 1/4 by 2 7/8. So let's put this on. And then we're going to mount this with dimensionals to make it stand up and be a little bit more prominent. Okay. There we go. Nice. Slide it around a little bit till it's centered. Okay, grab the dimensionals. So once you get the cutting down, and it's really pretty easy, you can follow what I'm doing or you can figure it out on your own if the way I did it doesn't make sense to you. So what I'm going to do, since I can make, there are 8 of each design, 8 times 4 is 32, so I'm going to make 32 Christmas cards out of this one package of DSP, which is pretty phenomenal. Okay, now we're ready for our Merry Christmas, and once again, you're going to put down the Merry and you're going to put down the Christmas to kind of get an idea of where you want it. And this time, okay, I used this little bow, which was out of the package, but there were only 2 of those. So what I decided to try is this bow, which is going to work great, and I'll show you where it came from. I was using patterned tags. Of course, now I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Okay, pattern tags. Oops. Okay, in the pattern tags, there's this little double bow. So here's the bottom bow. This is a separate little top bow, but it makes a gorgeous little bow that you can put just about anywhere. So that's what we're going to put here instead of this, because I don't have that anymore. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do first is put the bow on. I'm just going to use a dimensional. Did I say dimensional? I'm just going to use a glue dot. Maybe about right there. Okay, then I'm going to use another little glue dot. Is it off? Yep. I'm going to add it right there. And put the top going up like that. Then I'm going to pull out my rhinestones. And I'm just going to put a little rhinestone right in the center. Wow. Okay, love it. Okay, now here we go again. Merry Christmas with our faithful reverse tweezers. Just literally dotting it around. This is the slowest thing, right, about making the card, because the card itself goes together so quickly. Okay, Merry Christmas. And you know what? I'm sometimes not getting these words exactly where I want them, but they're still going to be cute. They're going to be fine. Okay, here's the Christmas. Just have to make sure that the T and the Y stay a little bit apart. Okay, I put a red dot on there, but I thought just to save dots, that's why I decided to put the rhinestone on there. And then inside, once again, I have the same greeting, and I chose the little candy canes, and there's card number 3. Okay, so, okay, now card number 4, last one. To make 32 cards, it's pretty phenomenal. Okay, here's our last card. So we're using the plaid cardstock. Okay, so I've already put the plaid cardstock on there. And now we're going to use something that's retired to make this center part. If you don't have a scallop square, then you can just cut a plain square. Nobody's going to see the scalloped, so they won't be disappointed that you don't have it. So if you don't have a scallop square, just cut it 3 1/4 but square, and then cut the green 3 inches square. But if you do have, okay, this is the, they retired several years back, and I said I would never get rid of mine. Okay, so I'm using the next to the largest die. I've cut my cardstock 3 1/4 inches square, and so I ran it through the first time. It had a little tiny border that cut off. Then we're going to turn it around, and the only thing that's really important here is that a scallop lines up with a scallop. You can see that. And then I'm going to go run it through again, and when I run it through, I'm going to have this. Okay, so then once again, I've used the I'm going to use my other, the Birchwood embossing folder on the garden green, and we'll just put it right in the center. This is 2 7/8 inches. Let's add this on with dimensionals. You know, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get things cut while I'm watching a movie. And then while I'm watching another movie on another evening, I'm going to start putting these cards together because it could get a little boring if you're just working on them. But to work on them and watch a movie could be quite fun. So that's what I'm going to do. Or watch something on TV. I don't know if it'll be a movie. Okay, so let's get this on straight. Kind of up high enough so I've got room for my Merry Christmas. Okay, so again, we're going to lay the Merry Christmas down before we add the glue, because you have to make sure that the Merry doesn't collide with the CH there for the Christmas. So now I'll just pick up the, oh, boop, 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 boop. Okay, and we'll try it one more time. Okay, there we go. Seriously, Sandy. You know what? Some days are just like this. Okay, get it kind of lined up. Now, try it. Okay. Yeah, so this just takes a little bit of patience. But you know, when you love stamping and creating, and I think of how much people are going to enjoy these cards when they get them. Okay, just trying to move it again, Sandy. Okay, there we go. I think that's okay. Okay, Christmas. Then it makes me patient. And especially if I can watch a movie and do it, or watch something on TV and watch it, it kind of makes the time roll by pretty quickly. Okay, Christmas. It's going to fit right there. Okay, now you can see on this card, I put a bulb because there were 2 of these, but guess what? There are only 2 of those. So now that I've made 2 of these, what am I going to do? Well, I decided I would just take some of these extra little things that they put in here. Let's see how that would look. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So we're just going to have to kind of play it by ear a little bit as we finish up these cards, because we only have 2 of each thing. Okay, so let me put this little piece on, which I think is really cute. And then this little guy, I think he needs to be, it would be nice if I had thought to cut a little something to lift him up a little bit. So I think I might not add him right now because I don't want to take your time, but I am going to put some little pretty, oh, and this is going to go inside. Okay, now I'm going to lose the bird. Let's see, did I already put this? Oh, I already put something inside. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to add these, and I'm going to use a small one and a medium one and a small one. And these are the ones I colored, and you cannot tell the difference. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so we'll just pretend like that's done. Okay, so here we go, 4 cards. 32 all together if you make them exactly the same. And of course, I'm going to make them exactly the same. Okay, is that 4 different ones? Yes. Okay. No. Where is this card? Oh, okay. I'm really okay here. Okay, here we go. Here are our 4 cards. I think they're beautiful. This little guy is going to be raised up, and so he'll look a little bit cuter that way. Our bow. Okay, I'm going to have 32 cards. Okay, now here's the little thing that's not quite as exciting as all the other news I've given you. Because this is so popular, it's out right now. It's going to be back again on November 17th. So I don't want to wait till September 17th to make my cards. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut everything for each card, make the bows. The only thing I'm going to need to do when I put my order in is just cut down the DSP. And that won't take me but a minute. And then I can just quickly put the cards together. I can do the inside, except I'll have to wait, you know, to add something cute here. So it won't take me too much longer to finish the cards, and I have to decide now how many cards I'm going to make. I can get 32 out of one package for $12.50. So at 78 cents a piece, I'm going to cut my Christmas list down this year. So that's my next job. Figure out how many I want to send out, because some of them I can hand deliver, so that's nice. So how many am I going to send out? How many packages do I need? And I'll get everything ready and be ready to order on the 17th. So if you do not have a demonstrator, please reach out to me. I'm happy to send you a catalog. I'm happy to answer questions. So my email is sandystamper@earthlink.net, no A in the Stamper, because Sandy Stamper with an A was already taken. And I would be happy to answer any of your questions. I'd be happy to send you a catalog if you don't have one, or send you future catalogs if you'd like them. So I appreciate you joining me, and I'll look forward to having you next time.